Thank you for joining us today, Bob. Pleasure talking to you as always. Could you tell us what we should be looking out for next week?
Particularly busy week ahead for the global financial markets for the US dollar. Key stats, we're going to be looking at ISM manufacturing, non-manufacturing figures, the ADP non-farm payrolls, weekly jobless claims, and at the end of the week, non-farm payrolls, official government figures. All of this will line up the Fed for a possible March rate hike, and that's going to be lining the Fed up for more rate hikes in the year. Question is whether it will be 3, 4, or even more. For the euro, busy week ahead as well. We've got private sector PMIs for France, Germany, Eurozone, and Italy and Spain. German economies in focus with retail sales and unemployment figures. But main event of the week will be the ECB monetary policy decision. Will the ECB change its stance on inflation? So that will be the key area of focus. For the pound, big week as well. While the stats are on the quieter side with finalized private sector PMI numbers, the Bank of England is in action on Thursday. Pound's taken a hit as the markets rein in expectations on BOE rate hikes for the year. So expect any hawkish moves and a rate hike in particular to give the pound a boost.
And what about commodity currencies? Any major events?
For the commodity currencies, also a busy week. For the loonie, we've got GDP numbers and employment figures. Obviously, GDP numbers will be, employment figures will be key, so expect these numbers to provide the loonie with direction. For the Aussie dollar, retail sales and trade figures are due out. Those will be the key stats. Main event of the week, however, will be the RBA monetary policy decision. Markets expecting the RBA to stand pat, but will there be any shift in forward guidance? For the Kiwi dollar, trade data and employment figures will be in focus. Obviously, trade data will be a key area of interest for the market.
And moving on to major Asian currencies, what are the key stats you would suggest focusing on?
For the Japanese yen, relatively quiet week ahead. Key stats, retail sales and industrial production figures. Both sets of numbers will draw interest. Don't expect any of it to have any material impact on the Japanese yen, however. For the Chinese yuan, we have private sector PMI numbers. These will draw plenty of interest and will influence market risk sentiment across the global financial markets.
And as always, we would like to hear your perspective on the geopolitical risk front as well.
On the geopolitical risk front, markets will be looking towards Russia and the Ukraine, and obviously chatter from Capitol Hill in Europe. Any rise in tensions will test support for riskier assets in the week.
It's always a pleasure to speak to you, Bob. Thank you for your time and see you next week. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Week Ahead with our top expert in the field, Bob Mason. You're always welcome to head over to Dukascopy TV social media to keep up with the markets. Thank you, and until next time.